You already know who it is. It's one half of the football pull-up. It's King Jones, and today I'm going to talk about like transfer rumors. I'm literally just going to go through like the daily news and football just to see what's going on and talk about anything with major potential. You know what I mean? Major potential that I think could happen in my opinions on it. Yeah, the Podfather couldn't be here, but you already know. Check out the rest of our videos. We're there, non-stop content. Yo, so let's see what we got here. Gotham FC, no. So I'm seeing Real Madrid said 30 million price for Brahim Diaz. I don't know if you guys remember that guy. I think he came from Man City, hasn't really got too much game time. Real Madrid are letting him for sale. Funny enough, like just talk about Madrid before I go on to like the next thing. Madrid, Barcelona, Inter, those sort of teams, I think because of COVID and they lost a lot of money, they put a lot of players up for sale. So there's a lot of players there on huge wages that I think they'd accept a less transfer for because their wages are so big, such as Hazard, such as Coutinho, Umtiti, Lukaku, you know what I mean? And there's some gems in there. I'm just looking at Lukaku, I don't know about the rest. I'm seeing this news, you know, listen, you guys don't already know. Both of us, myself and the Podfather, were both London fans. He supports the blue side, I support the red side. I'm an Arsenal fan, and I'm seeing this news that Arsenal are looking to get rid of Xhaka and replace him with Ruben Neves. Now, if you know that, my opinion, Xhaka is a very polarizing player. You know, I mean, like some days, some people like him, some people don't. But overall, the fan base, it's split on him. You know what I mean? I personally have always been in the opinion that if we got the right transfer for him and it was the right replacement, I have no problem with him going. But I also wasn't just a fan of selling him to sell him. Like there's certain players at Arsenal I would sell just to sell, to get him off the wage budget, to get him out of the squad, and they don't necessarily need to be replaced. But he's not one of those players. I still think our midfield is quite weak outside of Thomas Partey, and the fact that Torreira I don't think is good enough. Guendouzi obviously has a behavioural problem, so he's gone. Maitland's gone. Just to get rid of Xhaka without replacing him is an issue. But I'm seeing that Mourinho's a fan of him and Roma want him. And I'm seeing that we're interested in Ruben Neves. And I think Ruben Neves can do everything he does. In fact, I think Ruben Neves is younger. Ruben Neves is the better player. What I like about Ruben Neves is from what I've seen in the Premier League, he makes less mistakes. I think he's an amazing at set pieces. Though I think Xhaka's quite good at him as well. I think he's got a good shot on him. He's got a lot of potential. And because Wolves didn't have a great season this season because of COVID, because of a lot of things, I think he's ready to move on. And the price tag that he had previously 2 years ago when Man City wanted him, which was 100 mil, has definitely dwindled. I think it's good business for all parties. I think 20 mil for Xhaka to Serie A, I think he'd be excellent in that league with a slowdown of the player. I think he's a very technically gifted player. I've never like the way they've played him in Arsenal, so I don't give him all the blame because I do think they've always deployed him as like a defensive type of player, and I don't think he's good at tackling or he makes good decisions. I think he's best when we're in possession, and he's on the ball because I think he's quite good on the ball and he doesn't make mistakes. So I'm ready for him to go. To be honest, like Ruben Neves would be an upgrade. I think Ruben Neves and Thomas Partey makes us Arsenal a far more formidable team, and I'm 100% for it. I think that's a great transfer. I'm going to give. If that comes through and I'm saying 35 million, I'm giving that 8 out of 10. I think that's a great sign. That's leaps and bounds an amazing signing. Brighton value Ben White at 50 million. I think he's a good player, but again, 50 million. Yeah, like, let's be silly. I'm not going to talk about that. Let's just move on from that. Bayern to renew Hodgson and Doy interest. Yeah, I know I'm sniffling, guys. I wouldn't say I've got a cold in it, but you know, I'm feeling a bit off. And the table's a bit shaky. It's a little glass one, isn't it? It's a bit shaky, but it is what it is. Bayern to renew Hodgson and Doy interest. Boy, listen, I was one of the ones that probably called it wrong. You know, when Bayern were coming in for him a couple of years ago, 80 mil, I was one of the guys that was saying, nah, we shouldn't sell him. The Podfather was 100% saying, yo, I want the 80 million, you can go. He's very young, very, very young. So I think he has the ability to turn everything around, but I personally, looking, you know, at what's happened, I would have sold him for 8 mil, looking, you know, at what he's done since. It's unfortunate he's been injured. There's lots of things that happened, but 8 million is a lot of money. You know, it's a lot of money. And there's more, the thing when you get 80 mil for a player, majority of the time, most of the players that have been sold for those big bulks of money haven't gone on to prove their worth, just because it's such a substantial amount of money that, it's very hard to prove yourself. So I personally just sold him. Bayern coming in for him, I don't know. The thing is, it's a weird one with Tuchel. I don't know where Tuchel's going forward. I don't know what's going on with the Chelsea team. Is he going to play? Should he go on loan? I don't know if Bayern need him personally. I don't know what's going on there. What would I give this out of 10? So for this transfer, I would say it's a 4 out of 10. I don't think it's a great deal for any of the parties. I mean, it's great for Hodgson, even gives him the team, but again, I think that I'd want to stay in the Premiership if I was him, and I still think that he has enough. I don't think the wingers ahead of him are that good or been playing that well that he can't get back into this team. Let's see, Mbappe and London to join Bayern. Oh, okay. I don't see Mbappe joining Bayern Munich. I don't see Bayern Munich spending the sort of money it will take to get him, and I just don't see Mbappe wanting to leave PSG for Bayern. I'm saying Bayern are a bigger team. I just think he's always had his eyes set on Madrid. I think that's the number one team you don't want to go to. Or maybe Barca, but more Madrid. Leon. Okay. Don't know this guy. Mourinho's like, okay, Mourinho wants Patricia at Roma. See, that's the thing. I'm seeing 8 mil for Rui Patricio. I think that's a great signing. Mourinho's Portuguese. He's Portuguese. Roma are 10 times a bigger club than Wolves. I think Wolves are a sneaky club to get 5 or 6 players out of the team. I think because they finished 13th this year. And let me check that actually, just to make sure I'm right. Yeah, finished 13th this season, and and I think that they're not in Europe or anything like that. Again, they're not a massive club. I think they have a few players that came pinched off there. Obviously we've seen Jota go, but I think Raul Jimenez, obviously the injury is very unfortunate. I think Conor Cody, I think Gian Martino, even though he's a bit old, I think Ruben Neves, I think Traore. There's a few people, Raul Patricio, like I said, there's a few players in that team that I think are quality and would be looking to go to other teams if they are in Europe or if they just can offer them more wages and they have a bigger stature. So I like a lot of players in that team. Yeah, and I do. Morgan Gibbs-White is another player I like in that team. So Neto, big fan of Neto. So I do believe that people will be going for Wolves players. Okay, so I'm not mad at it. If I'm Patricia, I want to go to Wolves. I want to go to Roma. 100%. That's a good signing as well. He's a good goalkeeper. Santos. Oh my God, Santos set to replace Roy Hodgson at Crystal Palace. That's crazy. I thought he was going to go to Everton, and is Wolves a step up from? Is Palace a step up from Wolves? Yeah, I mean they've been in the Premiership longer. I don't know if it's a massive step up. I mean, again, as a manager, if he sees more potential in that Crystal Palace team, but I just don't. I don't see the potential. I don't think that it's like that much of a step up. At the end of the day, like I don't think it's that crazy. Okay, something. I feel like I'll for Saul to exchange for Noah Silva. I like Saul. Saul's one of those players that I feel like if you guys don't know him, plays for Atletico Madrid, they won the league. He's quite a well-known figure. He's kind of like the new wave of player. So the new wave, the Cocaine, the Saul. In the ones that came afterwards. I always liked him, but the bar was set so high with Spain because obviously Iniesta, Xavi, Fabregas, David Silva, that sort of wave matter at one point. Those sort of players that came, the midfield that came before him was so good. Like all those players at their best, all world class. That Saul almost had like an impossible feat to live up to. So though he was been playing since he was a young age, he's never felt he's kind of not become that guy. He's good. He's very good, but he's not become the guy that people probably were hyping him up to be. And maybe he couldn't because it was just that sort of level players that is near enough impossible to come. I like him, but I don't think he's as good as what everybody puts him out to be. I mean, he's a good player, but he's not great. I can see why Man City would be interested, but again, I don't know if they necessarily need him. Sort for Bernardo Silva, I've always thought that Bernardo Silva would be on his way out, because I think from that season he had, I think that was his second season a couple of years ago, he's kind of dropped in levels and he pushed his way out the team. And I think that even though Guardiola plays him, he doesn't necessarily warrant a place in the first team. I think that he kind of floats around on the fact that he can play multiple positions quite decent. So he can be centre mid, he can attacking mid, he can play left wing, right wing, but I don't believe that he warrants a place in that Man City team. And the fact that they linked with Jack Grealish, I think that Grealish can do everything Bernardo Silva does, but better and more efficient, and he's more on the top of his game. So I wouldn't, though Bernardo Silva starts for a lot of other teams, I don't think Man City necessarily need him at this point. But so, I mean, he's a good player. 6 out of 10. I'm not crazy about it. Okay. Jetro Williams also going back to Newcastle. He's a left back. Oh, Graham Potter's in contention for the Everton job. Everton's one of those clubs, man. No one speaks about them, but Everton, they always fail. They always fail to impress. Everton spent a lot of money on a lot of players. Like, I think there was a thing saying they bought Walcott, Schneidlin, Niasse, Balassi, and I think 2 other players, Bezic and someone else. They spent over 100 million on those players and they received 2 million back in sales. They're really bad when it comes to transfers a lot of the time. They really sign a lot of players for high amounts, and a lot of these players don't work out and they don't get the money back. They basically, Everton should be always, without question, in the top. Without question, in the top 10. They should be fighting for Europa every season. One sec. Yeah, without question, he should be in the top 10 every single season. You know what I mean? Every single season they should be in the top 10 fight for Europe. And I think a lot of the time they sign players that I think most clubs or most people, most fans would advise them not to. Like Prisoners of the Moment, like signing Iwobi was, what is that? Like, no disrespect to Iwobi, but yeah, he scored a goal in Europa, but almost 40 million for him. There's a lot of players he could have signed before. Walcott, again, like, what were you doing? And he was on the bench for Arsenal, he was getting on, like, you didn't need to sign him. Yeah, they sign a lot of players that come from bigger teams, thinking that maybe because they come from bigger teams that they'll be good for them, status and stuff, and they just don't work out. Who's another one? They sign a few players. And the players that tend to work out for them are the ones that they get on, quite cheap, and like people already know. Calvin Lewin came from the youth team, or they bought him for cheap. He's one of their better players. Charleston's one of their better players. But I just think when it comes to signing players, like, they need to sign players, and I don't know what formation and thing they've stuck to. They haven't got like a philosophy. I think they need to get a manager in that has a philosophy and stick to that sort of philosophy. And actually sign quality players based on the fact that they're quality players, regardless of where they come from. Like there's a player called Matías Pereira. Is that Matías Pereira? I think I'm getting it wrong. From West Brom, who got relegated. I think he's an excellent player. And he looked much better in the midfield. I think, just because a player comes from Arsenal, Tottenham, or any of those teams, or Man City, Liverpool, whatever, doesn't mean they're a good player. I don't think if they bought Shaqiri tomorrow or Riggy, that'll make them a great team. But I think if they went and they bought Danny Ings, and they bought Pereira, and they bought Basuma, Lamptey, all these players that are from teams that are lower in the league than them, would make them a better team. Ruben Neves, like a lot of these players. So, but I'm saying that, say, Graham Potter to Everton, I'm not mad at it. They've tried the Ancelotti thing, hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. He came 10th. They've tried, obviously they had the Watford manager, they had Marco Silva, they've had lots of managers. So, it's a different approach. But I think, again, if you let a manager in, Potter, you need to let him do what he wants to do. The fact that they haven't got massive players in that team, they haven't got big players, apart from James Rodriguez, who's a big player. They haven't got too many guys that are like huge players and stuff. So, I think that Potter won't be massively intimidated by this job, and I think he'll thrive on it. And we'll see how good a manager he is. But I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at Everton getting. I like up and coming managers and stuff like that, guys that are stepping up, because it gives them a chance to prove themselves. And sometimes that works out more than signing the accomplished. We've seen how many accomplished managers haven't, respectively done their job. Mourinho, Ancelotti, Emery at Arsenal, Van Gaal. I mean, like a lot of managers that are like big time, big names. Haven't gone on to do the job they were brought in for. So sometimes bringing a guy that isn't necessarily a big name but hungry for it can make a difference. Real Madrid accept defeat in Mbappe chase. They can't afford him. It's simple as that, guys. They cannot afford him. Roy Hodgson has turned the chance down to go back to West Brom. Yeah, why would he? Inter Milan are prioritizing Emerson. Okay. I mean, yeah. See why they want him. They want every fullback on the planet. You know what I'm saying? Ashley Young, Hakimi, Victor Moses. He's a former guy that played for United, the fullback. Oh, what's his name now? Damian. They want every fullback on the planet. So yeah, I'm going to talk about Barcelona quickly. The fact that I'm seeing that Barcelona want Philip Coutinho, Panazic, Samuel Umtiti. That's crazy. That's crazy. Who would I be? Who would I think? I think Coutinho's still got something to prove. But again, these guys, Panasic's kind of grown. Like he's what, in his 30s now, 30. I don't think I've never really been. I think he's a good player, but I'm not blown away. Pjanic, yeah. Pjanic. I don't know how to say his name. But anyway, yeah. City I've always been a fan of. Funny enough, I've always thought he was a good player. I don't know why teams like Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool, left-footed, quick. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's the best player in the world, but I always thought he was a good player. I don't know the state he's in now because he doesn't play much, but I've always liked him as a football player. Coutinho, people know already how I feel. I always thought he was a quality player. Again, if he's just in a team that gives him what he wants, or similar, I think he can give you a star performance. So I'm not mad at that. Braithwaite, Nicholas Fernandez, these players are not. No. So yeah, guys, that's literally been what's going on with what's going on with the transfer news daily. And obviously, me and the Podfather are going to be back. We're probably going to talk about the Euros and other stuff's going on, and the Ballon d'Or, and the fact that it was a disgrace that Kevin won PFA Player of the Year. But I thought I'd try something out and just do transfers daily. Like, what's interesting? What's going on? Yeah. If you follow our Instagram channels and content, yeah, I'm out.